So thank you everyone for joining us today for our Visual Art Department panel at Walnut Hill School for the Arts. My name is Dempsey Schott and I am an Assistant Director of Admission here at Walnut Hill. I am also an alum and a member of the class of 2014. I am joined by two current visual art students who will be introducing themselves to you in just a moment. During this webinar, I will be asking our panelists questions about their experience with this program. If you have any questions during our time together, please feel free to write them in the Q&A box in your Zoom toolbar. This webinar will also be recorded. I would now like to have our panelists introduce themselves. If you guys could tell everyone your name, grade, hometown, how long you've been at Walnut Hill, and where you're zooming in from today. Maddie, why don't we start with you?
Hi, I'm Maddie Rizzo. I'm a senior visual artist. I've been at Walnut Hill for 4 years, and I'm from Walpole, Massachusetts, and I'm zooming from there right now.
Awesome, thank you. And Soleil?
Hi everyone, I'm Soleil. I'm a freshman here at Walnut Hill. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and currently I am in my dorm room. I've been here for 5 weeks.
Awesome, thank you so much. So our first question we have for you guys today is, why did you choose to come to Walnut Hill, and what was your sort of art background and experience like before you got here? Who'd like to start us off? Go for it, Nadia. Yeah.
So my journey coming to Walnut Hill was it was all over the place. I found out about the school because my cousin is a dancer and she did a summer program here, and I was like, oh, an art school? That's great. And I applied, but I applied as a prospective music student. So I went through the whole application process for both visual arts and music. And once I came to Accepted Students Day, I totally fell in love with the visual arts program and the teachers and the students there. It was immediate. I felt a connection to the department. And ever since I've been here, and I love it. And it was beautiful. My arts background was mainly music before Walnut Hill, but the visual arts department has really like stuck it to me, and I've now grown into a visual artist and I love it.
Awesome, thank you. And Soleil, why'd you choose Walnut Hill?
I chose Walnut Hill because I wanted to expand in visual arts. I've always loved to paint, I've always loved to draw, but I've never had like structured classes where you can pick to take a certain class. And I wanted to fall in love with the obsession of taking my portfolio to classes and going after hours to go paint on a canvas. The way that I found out about Walnut Hill was at during my admissions process. Pretty much, I wasn't looking at a boarding school. I was looking at all types of different schools, like public and private. But then when I heard about Walnut Hill, I heard it was an art school. My school actually took us to different schools until some of us came on campus. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those students, but everyone kept telling me, Soleil, you should apply to Walnut Hill. It's so amazing. Just look at it. I feel like you really love it. And I said, well, since arts was a requirement on all the schools I was looking for, why not look into an art school? And so I applied to Walnut Hill. I came on campus. I interviewed. I fell in love. It felt like it would be a new home for me. And now it is. And I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome, thank you so much. Our next question for the two of you is, which visual art class has been your favorite, and which class has pushed you the most or challenged you the most? And I know, Soleil, you've had less time in the visual art classes than Maddie's many years of experience. So Maddie, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so one thing that people don't think about a lot when you're in the visual arts department is that we don't like physically declare concentration, but you can kind of pick one and you can take the same class for every semester, like I've done with illustration, which is my concentration. Um, so you get to normally pick your classes, and I've gone with illustration for 4 years, and it's been one of my favorite classes in the department because it's really a portfolio building class. You get to do character design, you get to do environment design, and while being helpful to your portfolio, you get to be extremely creative and come up with all your ideas and just expel them into these character designs. It's so fun. But the class that I think has pushed me the most and really took me to like almost my breaking point was Murals, which is normally I wouldn't say upperclassmen, sophomore, junior, senior spring class. where I'm sure if you've been on campus, you've seen all the murals in the ATC and Highland. Um, that class is really a test of teamwork. It's a test of collaboration. It's a test of your own artistic skill because you're going to have to put in so much time. I think that class is definitely what's pushed me the most.
Great, thank you. And Soleil?
Currently, my favorite class is painting. I'm discovering a new medium, which is oil painting. I'm used to working with acrylics, so that has been an adjustment, but I'm really loving the class so far. And the class that I would say is challenging me is illustration because I haven't really had the experience in digital art before. So when I came in, I learned I've always wanted to use Procreate. So I said, yay, Procreate. But we had like these big projects. And of course, it was intimidating at first, but now I'm kind of adjusting to it and how to use the applications and everything. But it's still something that I need to grow into.
Totally wonderful. While we're on the subject of classes, could you guys talk a little bit about how visual art class selection works and maybe sort of how it's changed this year versus what it is like in normal non-hyperflex times? Yeah.
I can go on that. So normally how it would work is when you first come to Walnut Hill, like every year, we'll have a big department-wide meeting. We have department meetings every week, but this is a big like special department meeting. Normally there's snacks and everyone sits down and they get a piece of paper and there's a list of all the classes that are on it and numbers that you can put your top 5 choices for classes. And they're not always guaranteed, but the teachers will try their best to put you in the classes that you want to have. And there's always an upperclassman priority with those classes for portfolios and that kind of stuff. But this year, because of COVID and because of the remote learning and hybrid learning going at the same time, we got put into classes. For a lot of the students, it's based off of what we've taken in the past, but for incoming students, it's more foundational. But I'm sure once COVID is over, that will go back to regular and students will get to put their input into their classes.
Totally. Awesome. And as Maddie mentioned to me before we had you all join us on this call, the teachers in the art department really get to know you and know what you're interested in, what your strengths are, where you might need to be pushed and challenged a little bit. So it is a very individualized learning experience in the visual art department, and you get very close with your teachers. All right, the next question I have for the two of you is, how many hours do students spend in the studios each week? So that includes class time that they might be in the studios, as well as time that they're spending working on projects outside of class hours. And it might be different for both of you. I know, we have a freshman and a senior on this call, so maybe you can talk about the differences there too. Yeah.
For me, each of my classes are 2 hours long. So on Tuesdays, I have digital art. On Thursdays, I have sculpture. And on Fridays, I have painting. But I also like to go into E-List, which is evening list, and after check-in / during study hall every night, you can go in and work on your projects. So I have been attending those. So overall, I don't know how much time I spend, but during the week with synchronous time, it's about 6 hours.
Awesome. Thanks. And Maddie?
Mine's definitely a little more. I'll talk a little bit about how it would be without COVID because that's what I was used to. Normally our classes were about 3 hours long. So they'd go from 2-ish p.m. in the afternoon from 5 to 5:15, right when dinner starts, and we'd have a break at 4. But we'd have those normally depending on, you can choose whether you take like 3 or 4 classes. So you'd normally have that 4 times a week. So 3 times 4, that's 12 hours just in itself. And then you have E-List on top of that. And I normally would spend almost every night in the studios from right after dinner at like 6 o'clock until like 10 p.m. But it really is self-catered. You can put in as much work as you feel so fit because it really depends on your classes. It depends on if you have portfolio work to do. It depends on just how you're feeling that week. So you can either go to E-List every night or you can not go at all. So that's really up to you. But if you do want to go, you have the opportunity to go from when check-in starts to when the E-List check-in is, which is 10. Is it 10 this year? I think.
What?
But
Check-in for us is at 7:45, except for on Saturdays. That's at 10.
Oh, even with E-list? Oh wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can really put in as much time as you want into your work outside of class. So it really is self-catered.
Yeah, definitely. And important to note that, Maddie is a day student who commutes to campus, and Soleil lives on campus. So E-List is not just for students who are living on campus and needing to be out of their dorms. That's also something that all visual artists and students of all different majors for their own projects can actually participate in, and get time outside of class working in those studios or in practice rooms for musicians or things like that. Our next question we have here for you guys is the environment in the visual art department competitive? Maddie?
Um, so this is something that I thought about a lot when I first came to Walnut Hill. I thought that it was going to be really cutthroat, but I'm going to be honest with y'all, it's not too competitive. It's really embracing. I have never been in a situation where I've been like competing for a certain position or something with other students. Everyone's super accepting of each other's art and uplifting towards everything. It's, I'd say, more than competitive, it's just accepting. I really like the environment.
I do too, and to add on to that, there's no right or wrong way to do art. Everyone has their own styles. So when you're in the studio and everyone, of course, is working on the same project, no one's ever going to paint the same exact thing. And the teachers will give you advice and critiques that are specific to you and not putting everyone on the same level because not everyone has the same experience. Sometimes as a freshman, I am intimidated because I take a lot of classes with seniors. And so I think, oh my gosh, I need to be on their level. But it's also my first year here and I have more time to grow. But like Maddie said, it's all really accepting and embracing.
Awesome. Thank you. And sort of going off of that point, I'm hoping you guys could share a little bit about what the differences are between being an underclassman visual artist and an upperclassman visual artist. I know we've talked a little bit about some of the opportunities, but if you talk a little bit more about what it's like in those classes or the freshman versus the senior experience, because I know they're very different, I think that'd be really helpful for everyone on the call today.
I'll go first. As a freshman, you're new to the school, obviously, and also pretty much everyone else in your class is new, whether they've taken a summer program or not. You're all still adjusting to different mediums, and you're all going to try different things. Like I said earlier, I'm like adjusting to digital art. I'm used to painting, so you all are all figuring out at the same time. But it's also a moment for you to bond over that, like to go to E-List together and kind of help each other in arts. It's still like intimidating because you're one of the youngest people there. But once you navigate yourself around campus and you navigate how to take your classes and everything, it all comes quite easily after that.
Yeah, I agree with Soleil. Like I was thinking about like my freshman experience versus my senior experience. And I think your first 2 years at Walnut Hill are really about growing socially. You still work very hard on your schoolwork, but I think it's really about finding your niche and adjusting to the people around you and adjusting to, if you're coming from a public school, a completely arts environment, which was a huge, like, I don't want to say shock because that sounds bad, but it was like it was a good shock to me. And once you hit junior year, I say you really start like grinding down on getting your portfolio done, getting your academics in because you're preparing for college. Um, and especially this year for the seniors, we're doing all of our portfolio work either remotely or with like only a little bit of intervention. So we're all working really hard and getting our portfolios done. So I'd say like the social aspect is really in the earlier years, and then once you hit junior year, you start really going for your work.
Awesome. Thank you. And how many showcase opportunities are there for visual artists each year, both formal presentations and informal presentations? Yeah, Maddie, go for it.
So normally we would have two large showcases a year. We'd have a winter show and a spring show. The winter show would normally be in January, after our first semester, in the spring in June after our second semester. And if you're a senior, you would normally get a senior show with you and a few of your friends in Delbridge, but we're not sure if those are happening this year. I think as of right now, all of our showcases are going to be online, and we haven't really been informed of when/where it's going to be yet.
Speaking on the informal aspect, pretty much every week some of us have crit, which is where we present the work that we've done over the past week before we have that class again. And we talk about what we did, kind of what was hard, and also other students in the class can give advice, whether maybe you need to touch up some things or maybe they'll suggest that you add something else to it, just so everyone wants to make sure that other people are doing what they need to do, and also that everyone comes out with a good piece of art. But also some of our artwork is presented on our Instagram page. So maybe photos of people working in the classroom or final projects. I know some of my classmates' sculpture projects were posted up there and they're all super cool. So if you can, just go check that out.
Awesome. Thank you. And I hope you all do go check that out. I would also just like to add, the community at Walnut Hill is a small one. It's a really tight knit one. So when there are visual art showcases, the whole community really comes out to see and witness the great art. It is definitely a huge effort on the visual art department to put on those shows, and the community really values them. So all students from all different majors, faculty, staff from all over campus make sure that they go to those openings of those shows and see the artists there and congratulate them on their work. It's one of my favorite times of year when we get to have those visual art shows. So it's definitely a collective effort on the community to go witness those. And obviously parents and families are more than welcome to come to those shows and those openings for sure. So this question is directed kind of for our, potential walnuts on this call. I'm wondering, you both went through the admission process at Walnut Hill. Is there any advice that you would give to students who might be nervous about their portfolio review? And what was that experience like for you? I know Soleil, it was just a year ago, and Maddie, it was a while ago, but Maddie, maybe you want to talk about your experience too? Go for it.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to sound super cliche and like what you'd totally expect someone to say, but be you. I think that's what's most important, especially when you're an artist. Being yourself is what's most like favored. And if you be yourself, I assure you that whoever's doing your portfolio review, if it's Jim or Ken, they're going to see that and they're going to really admire that, because that's something that's so important, especially in our visual arts department, is expressing your own art and not following what other artists do. Sure, we can learn from other artists, but truly expressing yourself is what I think will be the best advice ever.
I completely agree with that. And also, when you're interviewing for a school, typically they ask you the questions, but also you may want to ask them questions. As much as you're there to take the school and learn from them, you also want them to give something to you. Like for me, it's growing in my art career because I want to be an artist when I grow older. So make sure that you're like sticking true to yourself and that what you truly believe, you kind of see that in the school, because you're going to be there for the next 4 years. So you're going to build relationships, you're going to make new friends. And if you can see yourself in that space with what you truly value, where you can be your authentic self, then it'll definitely be a great fit for you.
Awesome. Thank you both. That is great advice. And I would really stress that, Walnut Hill, we always like to say we really value that process over the product. So a lot of the portfolio reviews for both visual art and a lot of the other majors are really about talking about that process, that inspiration. And you don't have to have years and years under your belt of oil painting class in order to express who you are as an artist, what you're interested in exploring as an artist. Yeah, Maddie, go for it.
I was going to say, I totally agree with that. I was a baby visual artist when I applied to Walnut Hill. It was like I had been doing drawing and painting for almost like a year, maybe, because I was a musician before that. I didn't know that that was an option for me. But like, it's really about the process of your work and how much thought you put behind it, rather than making like all these beautiful. It's great if you make like insane, beautiful oil paintings and are completely traditional, but it's really about your thought process and how true you are to yourself and your own art. I totally agree with what Dempsey said.
Awesome. Thank you. We're going to move on a little bit to talking about academics. I'm wondering if the two of you could speak on what it's like to balance your arts and academics. How difficult is it? How do you manage? And what advice would you give to someone who's exploring going to sort of a dual curriculum program like Walnut Hill is? Yeah, Maddie, go for it.
So I'm gonna be very honest and say it's hard to adjust to the dual curriculum program, but once you do adjust, it will be like you've never known anything else. Because at Walnut Hill, during our like regular schedule, we'd have academics in the morning up until 2 o'clock, and then you have all your arts. So your brain kind of gets into this mode of like morning academic, afternoon art. Sometimes you have a little break in the middle of the day for lunch and for clubs. But once you get into that rhythm and once you get into that mindset of like, I'm going to allot this time for my academics, this time for my arts, and this is like my free time, social time, it's really easy to switch between doing all your academic work and your arts work.
I would say time management is definitely a big thing, and you don't have to be a master at it when you come to Walnut Hill or when you switch to a new school. It's going to take some time to adjust. And like Maddie said, it can be hard sometimes, especially when you're used to that same schedule every day. For me, my days kind of switch opposite. So I have academics in the morning, then arts in the afternoon, then I have arts in the morning and academics in the afternoon. So that's definitely something that I had to adjust to. But when you use that free time to get a head start on your homework, it definitely does help. And also, E-List is open and office hours are open, so you can work on your things during that time. And I would highly suggest it because it has helped me a lot when I do my artwork. So I would say time management.
Awesome, thank you. And I think, time management is a skill that lots of us practice in middle school, but learn very quickly when students come to Walnut Hill. So just like the two of them said, it is a growing process, and know that there are a lot of supports in place at Walnut Hill. All of your arts and academic teachers, as well as your advisors and your dorm parents, are looking out for you and are supporting you sort of in your journey. And we understand that freshman year is a time of major growth and adjusting to Walnut Hill. So don't let that intimidate you at all. I do want to remind our participants on the call, I have a few more questions for our students here, but if there are questions that you have that you'd like to ask, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box. We'd love to hear from you and answer your questions if there are any that you're, itching to know from our students. This question is a little bit more directed towards Maddie, obviously, because Soleil is a freshman, but I'm wondering, Maddie, if you could briefly talk about what the college counseling process looks like for juniors and seniors, and do all Walnut Hill visual artists go to conservatories?
Definitely not. That's my first. People go everywhere. So as like an overview, you start going to college counseling second semester junior year, and you only have a few meetings. Like you'll meet sporadically throughout like second semester of junior year, but you really start meeting once you go back to school your senior year, because that's when the college crackdown is and you need to get everything done. um and I would say definitely not every visual artist goes to like a conservatory based school. Most of the schools that I'm applying to are universities, and most of them are for either an English or photography degree. So it's people really are all over the spectrum for where they go to schools. And I know it's like that for the other majors too. Um, but yeah, I really appreciate the college counseling program at Walnut Hill. I think it's a huge help because each student gets a counselor. There's 3 or 4 counselors right now. I know they switched it up a little bit, but each student gets a counselor that they can meet with on a weekly basis, depending on how much you need it. You really can make your meetings when you need them, and they'll help you through every step of the college process, like your portfolio, your applications, your essay. They're like life-saving for your essay. They'll edit your essay for you. It's amazing. And it's one of the biggest helps. They'll crack down on you for your deadlines and make sure you're getting everything done. It's super helpful, and it has helped me immensely. And I'm halfway done with applying to all my schools, so I just have the next few to do. But my counselor has helped me so much get through that process.
Definitely. Thank you. And just like you said, it's really individualized. There's no pressure on any student to pick a certain way. I know a lot of Walnut Hill students end up applying to a wide range of schools, and our college counseling sort of philosophy is really that you don't know until you go check it out. So students are really encouraged to explore all different types of college options, and it's about best fit. Yes, Maddie, go for it.
Sorry, I totally forgot that we have college visits all the time. So I know your junior year, if you have free time, you can go to them, but senior year, you can get out of class to go to them. Um, it's, I think, almost every day we have a different college Zoom meeting or meeting to go to if you want to, if it's a college you're interested in. They're not required. But that is also really helpful because you get the admissions emails, you get to meet someone from admissions at that school, and it really helps you get your foot in the door and express your interest in that school.
Absolutely. Great to know. We do have colleges coming in all the time, and colleges are very interested in our students for a wide variety of reasons. So it's lovely to be able to have those admissions representatives come directly to us and to our students. So great. Thank you. This next question is for both of you. Do you get free time at Walnut Hill? And if so, what do you like to do in your free time? What do you do for fun? Do you join clubs? Do you hang out? Do you sleep? What is it like?
So yes, you do get free time at Walnut Hill. And in my free time, typically I either work out or I hang out with my friends here on campus since I have some people that are in my hallway. Sometimes we go to the campus center. There's a pool table there and ping pong. Or we just play Among Us, which is a game that came out on our phones. So we just hang out in the common room or maybe even watch a Netflix show or even just go into the studios. So it's kind of your time to get into your mental headspace and just take a break from all the requirements that you need to do. It's definitely something that is beneficial and that I like having during the day.
Yeah, I like same thing as Soleil, like me and my friends in our free time. We do get free time. It's a shocker, but we do. A lot of us do choose to use our free time for studio time, but outside of that, a lot of kids like to hang out in the campus center. Me and my friends play Super Smash Bros. A lot on the big TV in the campus center, even now during COVID, because we can spread ourselves out. What else do we do? We honestly, people just sit around and talk all the time. You go to the school store and you get a snack and you go sit in the campus center and you talk to your friends. Video games are super popular for some reason. I don't know why at art school, but people like to. It's a good socially distanced activity. You can all sit in different parts of the room and all play like Among Us, or me and my friends play League of Legends. Um, it's really fun to be able to have that free time and just sit with your friends and cool down from all of the arts and all of the academics because it is super rigorous. But that free time is highly cherished.
Awesome. Thank you. And I will also say, we are in a weird time right now for free time and what students can do. Yeah, Maddie, you have something to
Sorry, totally forgot about clubs. I've been I've been a member of GSA and Woke for 4 years now, and those are two of the clubs on campus. We have Sweat, which is like our sports club. We have all different active interest group clubs. We have a K-pop dance team. There's a ton of clubs that are very like fitted for whatever you may want to be a part of, but GSA and Woke are two of our like activism groups. GSA is for our LGBT students, and Woke is just a more generalized activism group. And I totally recommend joining them both. They're wonderful clubs.
add. And Soleil, are you part of any clubs?
Yes, I'm actually part of a few clubs. So I'm part of Black Student Union, which is a safe space for Black students on campus, which is pretty obvious. Also, We the People, which is kind of like a political group. We talk about politics. We talk about different discussions to have within the school. Sometimes we speak at assembly, and sometimes we host our own meetings with the school. And also, I do MHI, which is Mental Health Initiative. We've been doing journaling mostly, like bullet journaling, kind of scheduling things for the day and everything. But there's definitely a wide range of clubs here. Sorry. I didn't really realize it until I went to the fair when I found DeVink and BSU and all the other clubs there. So there's definitely something for everyone if you look into the clubs.
Awesome. Thank you both for that. There's definitely tons of clubs on campus. And if you don't find a club that you're interested in, which I promise you is unlikely because there are so many, it's very easy to start your own club if there's something that you're really passionate about. You basically just need sort of a co-head and an advisor and to talk to Walnut Hill about starting that club. So it's very easy. The other thing I was just going to mention is that, in this COVID time, there's a lot of video gaming and hanging out in the campus center, but in normal times, we are very close to Boston and you can easily walk into downtown Natick. So our students do take advantage of their local surroundings, whether or not they're going on trips to the MFA or just going in to have, dinner at a restaurant, see a movie, go to the mall, different things like that. So although it's a little bit different in this time, there's a lot of opportunities for engagement in our local community. And day students and boarding students can both hang out with each other on the weekends for sure. Day students are allowed to sleep over on campus if they have a late night before a visual arts show or just want to on the weekends. And same as boarding students, they can get permission to sleep over their day student friends' houses. Yeah, Maddie.
I just want to touch on like day students sleeping over.
Yeah.
I totally recommend doing that. It's so fun. I will say you have to make sure you're in an affiliate dorm with your friends because you'll be sleeping over in your affiliate dorm. Like I was in North House last year and it was so fun. But I slept over in Highland once when I was an affiliate there when I was an underclassman, and it is so fun because you get to sleep over with your boarding friends, which is something like normally as a day student, I'm only really off campus for sleeping. So being able to be on campus with your friends for that one period of time that you're not normally there is really fun.
Totally. Definitely. Awesome. So we do have some questions in the chat. So just as we're on the subject of sort of clubs and hangout time, we have someone who's wondering if clubs are just kind of a hangout space with like-minded people, or are they more like a class with homework and meeting times and stuff? Can you explain? I know all the clubs are different. So yeah, Maddie, go for it.
For the clubs that I'm a part of, they're definitely more like-minded discussion. You'll watch movies and discuss them or just talk about what's going on in your lives. I know for GSA, there's a lot of like support for students. So I don't want to call it like a little group therapy session, but that we have had meetings like that where students will just talk and support each other. And we do have a few like active like community projects every once in a while. Like I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was last year that GSO, I think it was 2 years ago that we organized to help local women's shelter and provide donation bags for them. And so we put in like feminine products, snacks, different things you might need if you're in a shelter. And yeah, it's really more of a like-minded space. No homework if you don't have club homework. And you get to sit and hang out with people that are interested in the same things that you are and maybe help the community along the way.
That's pretty much the same story for me. Although in We the People, since we also kind of cooperate with the whole school community, sometimes we have assignments that we need to do, whether that's hosting our own meeting and gathering information, making a PowerPoint and everything, or just, I don't know, just like talking and having just a civil conversation. We do flip grids, we do final site posts, but none of it is really mandatory. It's if you want to take that extra step and you want to be more involved in the club. But like Maddie said, there's no like homework that's due by the next week. And if you don't do it, you get kicked out or anything.
Absolutely. I also want to just reiterate that clubs are inclusive at Walnut Hill. So you can join any club that you want. You can be a part of any club and as many or as few clubs as you want to be. They're not mandatory. I'm the advisor for Improv Club this year. And I know a lot of schools that would be an audition-based process to get into a troupe, but that's not how we do clubs here at Walnut Hill. Anyone is always welcome to come to the meetings and join the clubs. So that's really important to us. Cool. Anything else you guys have to say about clubs or free time before we move on? Yeah, so go for it.
With clubs, it's not if you can like apply for it, then you're just in and you have to be there. People come and go as they please. Like everyone is open to the club meeting. We send the links out to the whole school so anyone and everyone can join. So if you don't decide that first day when everyone's introducing themselves that you want to do it, you can still come in whenever and see if the club's a good fit for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and Maddie.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that. When clubs hold specific events, like I know Woke holds events a lot, and anyone is welcome to come to those events. It's not like club specific, or like if you've been to a meeting, you can go. Anyone in the community is welcome to come. And I think that's awesome because it's not really, clubs aren't really closed off. They're more, anyone can come to our meetings or events. It's really fun.
Awesome, thank you. And while we're on that, this reminds me of another question. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what leadership opportunities on campus look like, and how students become part of leadership or show their interest in leadership? Yeah, go for it, Maddie.
So how you can acquire a leadership position is really dependent on what position you want. So every year we have class president and vice president elections. Those ones are always really fun because the president elections, the speech is given by the person, but the vice president is normally a blind pick, or at least for my class, it's been a blind pick for the past few years. And for department rep, that's another one that you go up and you can give a speech, or this year we had to film videos for the department rep speech. But for a lot of other leadership opportunities, it's an interview based. I know for DivInc, it's interview, and for student activities board, that's interview too. But there are a lot of leadership opportunities because there's a lot of people on the student activities board. There's a few people, I think 3 for DivInc, and club leaders are considered leadership members too. So, and you can start your own club. Email ZRob if you want to start a club. You'll need a faculty advisor and normally another person that is going to help you out with the club. I know there's a lot of co-heads going on there, but there's a lot of opportunities to have a leadership position, especially when it comes to being a club head and being on like student activities.
Totally. Did you have something to add, Soleil? Go for it.
Yes. Also, sometimes what we do in We the People, again, is we have this spreadsheet, and if you want to lead that activity, then you kind of like apply for it. And there are other people that are on the team with you. And also in the dorm, there's dorm presidents. I'm not exactly sure how those are decided, but the dorm presidents kind of help plan the activities that we're going to do in the dorm. They kind of help people with everything that they need to do. And also, this isn't like a leadership position, but trash captains in the dorm are also on a rotating schedule every week. So yeah, just to make sure you're keeping your dorm clean, you can do the trash.
Totally. Thank you. So yeah, leadership opportunities, it's not required that when you come to Walnut Hill, you desperately want to be on leadership, but there are a lot of opportunities available at many different levels, all the way from, student body president to being a co-club head for something. So there's a wide range of opportunities if that's something you're looking for. Yeah, Maddie, go for it.
I totally forgot about another elected position is a DC representative, and you'll be partaking, if you are a DC representative, in student hearings for disciplinary actions. So that's a position that's really respected on campus. If you're a DC rep, people will see you as a very level-headed, very trusting person. So that's another rep that you can run for. And that's any year. I think your sophomore through senior year, you can run for DC rep.
Thank you. So this next question is for both of you. Are there opportunities to make friends with students who are not visual artists? And how would one do that? Yeah, Maddie, go for it.
So yes, to give the simple answer. You meet people through your classes, you meet people through just being on campus. For example, the majority of my friends are music majors, or they're graduated music majors, but yeah, you really do through your classes find a group of people that you connect with, and you'll meet people from every major that you'll be friends with. And that was a really big worry of mine when I first came to Walnut Hill, that I'd only ever be around visual artists. But I think the class, like having the academic classes together and having like lunch periods together and stuff, really brings students together. And you'll have friends from every major.
I agree with that. And majority of my friends are theater majors and dance majors. And the way I kind of made those friends was one, Zoom. When you're going to different events and everything, you kind of bond over one like common thing that you have. And also just in the dorm, we have dorm meetings every week. So you'll see different people with the dorm activities and everything. And I know typically sometimes they don't assign you with the same major for your roommate, but we're all in single rooms this year. So all of us down the hallway are in different majors. So you just kind of get to know everyone through common things that happen around campus, which is really good.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite things about the Walnut Hill community when I came was that it didn't matter what major or grade you were in or what dorm you were in, or if you were a day or boarding student or what country you were from. Everyone really has a vested interest in getting to know all the different people on campus. And it doesn't matter what age or major you are at all. Everyone is really open to meeting new people and becoming friends with everyone. So that's one of my personal favorite things about the community. All right, and the last question I have for you guys is a fill in the blank. So fill in the blank, you might be a walnut if blank. Maddie.
I would say you might be a walnut if you're truly dedicated to your art and if you're truly willing to put yourself every day into broadening your art, your skills, your love for it. If you're really dedicated, I think you'll definitely fit in as a walnut.
I think you're also a walnut if you're seeking to grow in your career. That also goes into being committed, but if you know you want to do art and you're really passionate about it and you're willing to go through the different challenges that come with it, then you'll be with people that also love to do art and you'll do it together and you'll persevere through it all, which is one big thing that was for me, was being with other people that also like doing art, kind of understanding kind of like the struggles and the successes with art and people that can help you through it.
Awesome. Thank you. Those are beautiful answers. I so appreciate your time. I know Walnut students are very busy, so I thank you both so much for being here on this Wednesday to talk to some of our potential walnuts. To everyone who joined us today for the call, thank you so much. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have more questions, either for your admissions counselor or for either of these two lovely students. Make sure that you contact the admissions office. We can certainly put you in touch and get those other questions answered if you think of them when we hang up. I would also just like to mention, most of you signed up for this through our virtual open house page. There are a lot of other opportunities on there that I would encourage you to register for, and we have started doing virtual tours at this point. So you can meet other lovely WAG students, Walnut Hill Admission Guide students like the two we had here today, and see a bit more of our campus. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week, and thank you so much.